Welcome to the first DreamViews podcast and Minisode. We decided to start integrating these shorter, more snappy episodes to shoot out some quick information, such as covering certain guides or generally other things that are too small to fit into a larger episode.
In this minisode, we'll be talking about going back to school and how to keep up with lucid dreaming. It's been a hot topic on DreamViews lately, with everyone heading back to school and with the dramatic change in routine. It's hard for some people to stay in that lucid mindset.
And as always, we're your hosts of Rare Cola.
And Ophelia Blue.
Okay, so we're going to start with the dream recall, as continuing to have good dream recall is key for becoming lucid. Dream recall is pretty delicate, so when you dramatically change your schedule it can take a big hit. Obviously the first thing you want to do is keep a good night's sleep, about 6 to 8 hours, obviously more the better. If you're just having 6 hours sleep, then generally your chances of lucidity are going to be decreased, whereas you're getting that extra 2 hours will probably double your chances. And obviously recording dreams as well, first thing in the morning, such as soon as you wake up you need to get your dream journal, and before you do anything getting ready for school, so before you even start worrying about school, you need to focus on your dreams and really try and get them down in this journal. And taking that journal along with you as well, in case you get delayed recall, because if you don't have anywhere to write them down and you suddenly remember a dream as you're heading to school or something, you need that journal to write down these dreams that you've just remembered. Okay, so Lisa, do you want to talk about nighttime routines now? You can go into the beginnings of that.
Yes, trying to keep things routine, keeping things stable, as regular as possible. I know it's difficult when you've first of all changed up your routine so dramatically with school, and you don't know what kind of activities you're going to be involved in. But the more often that you can go to bed at the same hour, the better, because this will help keep at least the amount of sleep the same, and hopefully that way your REM cycles will line up the same, causing at least the same amount of dream recall. So your chances of lucidity will stay as close to the same as possible. But also taking the time to wind down. You're having very hectic days running around from class to class, dealing with homework, with various projects and extracurricular activities and so forth. Having that time to wind down, if you're not going partying and dating or whatever, is really good. It's really crucial to relaxing, getting in that sleep mode and in that lucid dream mindset. And then, of course, whatever your chosen technique or method is, if you're doing mantras, if you're incubating dreams, whatever it is that you're doing before bed, normally during your summer or your breaks, to help you get into that lucid mindset, try and keep up with those as well before bed. And if you do have loads and loads of homework or studying for tests that you have to do, trying to do them in between. If you're in college, you can do them in between your classes, depending on how your schedule is always, it's good just in general, but especially for dreaming. It's nice to not procrastinate that until the end of the day, and have it done before you're ready to go to bed, so it's not your mind isn't flooded with homework when it's time to be sleeping. Let's see, what else do we have here, right? Oh, yeah, this is really great for stress in general. And since stress is sort of the sleep killer and the lucid dream killer, it's a really great technique for alleviating stress, is to write down any of the worries you have about tests or school or whatever, the cute girl that you're trying to ask out or whatever in your science class. You're worried about she's going to say yes or no. Write this down on a piece of paper before you go to bed. This helps clear your mind so you can begin focusing on lucid dreaming.
Yeah, and I would like to again go back to the first note we made about going to bed at the same hour. I know so many people, when they go back to school, they go into a schedule where they wake up really early in the weekdays to go to school, but then when it comes to the weekends, you're going to bed later and getting up later just because it's the weekend. And I know I don't mean to be a killjoy here, but generally if you want to really keep up with lucid dreaming, you need to keep that stable sleep schedule, and because as Lisa said before, it stabilizes those REM cycles, so you'll wake back to bed more effective, and generally it's easier for you to be able to be aware when you're having these REM periods, so you can get into a lucid dream. Okay, so we're going to move on to...
Absolutely, I agree.
Yep, we're going to move on to daily awareness now. Obviously, when you go back to school, you've got so many new surroundings, and as we mentioned in the last episode, I think, school is a really common dream sign, so it's a great time to really practice your awareness and reality checking in this new surrounding, particularly because so many random things happen at school, at least when I was in school. And you need to also resist to become too comfortable with the new routine. You don't want to just go to bed at the time and just slip into sleep, and just you're not even focusing on dreaming because you're so comfortable with the school routine. You need to, as we mentioned before, you need to take time to wind down before bed. Take that 15 minutes or even longer if you have it, just to focus on dreaming. Really incite that feeling of excitement to become lucid, even though you're going to have to wake up for school the next day. And reverse reality checks as well. I'm not sure if we actually used the term reverse reality checks before. It's something that Sagius from the Wild class on DreamViews coined. It's basically where you're focusing on self-awareness, where you think about where you were before, earlier in the day, and where you are now and where you're going to be soon. This is particularly good when you're at school, because obviously you're constantly learning in school and you're doing so many different things, so many different classes. If you can retrace your steps perfectly and think about what you've done, that's a really great way to obviously improve your chances of becoming lucid. And I think even going back to school, I think it's a really good chance, really good time to be lucid dreaming, because you're having so many different experiences in the day, so you get so much day residue in the dreams. So obviously you really want to focus on that, and hopefully you will become lucid. Was there any other points you wanted to make on daily awareness or anything, Lisa?
Yeah, definitely. Well, about the reverse reality checks, I think we touched on it briefly in lesson 3 under the awareness section, without maybe going into really great detail. But yeah, like you said, Jason, this is a really great time. Anytime you completely overturn your routine, like going back to school or starting a new job, or in the case of travel, an old job I had involved a lot of travel. Everything is so different. So you do have this residue that lingers over in your dreams, and you can really take advantage of it. You're kind of maybe even in a more heightened state of awareness anyway, because everything is new. So you're kind of on guard. You're ready to just kind of absorb all this new information and all these new changes, and those can really lead to lucidity over time when you start getting used to again, being too comfortable with the new routine. As you've gotten used to going from class to class and you've gotten into kind of a groove, that can be when your awareness starts to become stagnant. And that's a good time to really begin doing things like reverse reality checks. How did I get to this room? How did I, where was I 5 minutes ago? Retracing your steps and so forth, so that you can keep your heightened sense of awareness, which is the key thing you do during the day, maybe besides your dream journal, to keep your lucidity muscles going.
Yeah, definitely. So just to recap on what we've spoken about, you need to keep up with dream recall, make sure you're getting that sleep that you need, and taking your journal with you, and not worrying about school when you first wake up in the morning or when you go to bed at night, because you need to obviously get a good dream recall to even become lucid in the first place. And then keeping up nighttime routines, going to bed at the same hour, mantras, dream incubation, doing homework earlier in the day, not right before bed, because that could activate your mind a bit too much, and and keeping up daily awareness in your new surroundings, really focusing on how your new surroundings and everything else that we just spoke about. So yeah, I think that was it for this first minisode, as we're terming them. Let us know what you think of them. We're probably doing more on just the small little guides on DreamViews, and anything else, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, just things that won't fit into a larger episode that we can quickly knock out in these minisodes, generally giving you updates and stuff. This week's was kind of a bonus as well, seeing as we were delayed a week on the big episode that we're hopefully doing tomorrow if we don't run into any more problems. Okay, so that was it for this time. Bye bye everybody. Do you want to say bye, Lisa?
Bye, everybody.